Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Great to be here today, Thursday, May 14th, 2020, 3 p.m. Central Time, live from Gabriel Roy Place, Winnipeg, Manitoba, my home, my basement. I'm Rob Tatro, portfolio manager here at Canaccord Genuity Wealth Management and at the Tatro Wealth Advisory Group. This is my basement. On the back there, you see my son's Lego table, obsessed and infatuated with Legos pretty much his whole life. I'm working from home today, but I am thrilled. Our multiple guests today, we're having a three-person team today for the first time, three-person show for the first time. I'm excited about these guys. I've been talking about them on this show for a while now, been kind of pumping them up a little bit. I'm excited to have them. I'll introduce them in a sec. First of all, a friendly reminder that I am not giving you guys investment advice today, and let's run a disclaimer on that as a reminder. As great as we are, it's important to run those disclaimers because, again, if you're not, I don't know your personal situation. So if you'd like to, tell me your personal situation, by all means, go to www.speaktorob.com and I'd be happy to book a consultation with you guys. Also, my website, robtatro.com. Feel free to go there for some good information. A reminder, we got some great guests coming on today. Like on Facebook or YouTube, share, give us your comments. We're going to be taking questions today. Before I do that, real quick, let's take a look at the headlines. The Dow today, the American indices fell early this morning. They fell heavy and they fell hard early this morning. They were down about 300 points, and they kind of rallied all day. And in the last hour here, they've rallied. The Dow is going to finish up about 300 points. The S&P 500 up about 32 points. NASDAQ is going to be up as well, about 80 points. Gold is up about $20. Silver's up a little bit. All in all, a good day to the market. We've had a couple rough days last couple of days. Some of the headlines, Ontario's planning to reopen up. So Premier Ford announced some of that today. We kept an eye on that storyline. I don't think there's any real details. Manitoba, we've kind of gone through that first step of opening up. Other than that, there's talk of reopening in the U.S. The pullback that happened in the last couple of days is likely as a result of the negative vibe, I'll say, negative experience or negative feeling with respect to the second wave of coronavirus and the second wave of infections. Manitoba had 0 new cases, I believe, yesterday. It's been a very slow, there was a kind of a slight jump on the weekend, but it's been a slow progression in Manitoba for the new cases. The US had 3 million unemployment claims. That's a lot. We know that. Now we're up to 36 million here since COVID started. 36 million people in the US applied for unemployment benefits. That's a big number. Those are the headlines thus far. Now let's bring in our guests. These two guys are two of the co-founders of Bold Commerce. These guys are experts in the e-commerce world. They started, I say their basement. I'm going to ask them, was it actually their basement? I don't think it was. Let's bring them in right now. Both of the co-founders, the CEO, Yvan Boisjoli. Yvan, welcome. Great to have you here.
Hey, Rob.
Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Your backgrounds are way better than mine. And obviously, Steph Menard as well. Steph Menard, co-founder. Well, great to see you, Steph. Welcome.
Hey, Rob. Thanks for having us. Yeah, we tucked ourselves in the corners to hide all the mess.
I should have done the same, I guess. I didn't. You guys are better, obviously, at working remotely than I am. Hey, what's that on your back shelf there, Steph? Looks like a golf trophy.
It is. Men's League 2007. Won it with my dad.
In Labroquerie, Manitoba.
Pretty sure it was in Labroquerie, and Rob was in that league, and we beat him.
One time. Good to see you both. We do actually go back quite a bit. You guys are veritable Manitoba entrepreneurs and veritable Manitoba superstars in what you do. I'm thrilled to have you guys here. For those of you that don't know your business, Yvan, CEO, maybe take me through kind of big picture. We will get into kind of specifics about what you do, but take me through big picture, what Bold does today. Like what's the business that Bold is in?
Yeah, I mean, so we live in e-commerce. We live and breathe e-commerce. I mean, we're e-commerce solutions providers. We really how we look at your e-commerce store is there's a lot of complexities running e-commerce and just your retail business. And so we really bring that extra level of functionality that you need to operate in the way that will make you successful. So we have a range of products. They go from a full subscription model solution to multi-currency, we've upselling apps, pricing apps, promotions apps, and so there's a really how we look at our business. We're a very modular commerce solution provider. So you plug and play the functionality you need to be successful, and it's in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much it.
It's ever evolving, I'm sure. Steph, Yvan mentioned it's plug and play kind of modular stuff. So the typical client, is it someone who's kind of selling stuff out of their home, or they actually have a business and they do this on the side, or is it, the majority of your clients, are you a majority of their business, or is it more, you get all sorts?
Well, I think all sorts, really. It started mostly with mom and pa's selling out of their basement. So we have apps that you can just install out of the box and they work. But we also have a lot of larger solutions that need some implementation or some connection, so integration with existing tools that a company is using. So our clients range from small, installing our app out of the box, to giant enterprise clients that need to integrate their internal ERP with a CRM or a checkout. So I think what makes us different is we are not the actual platform. We are not the e-commerce platform, but what we do is best is we plug in all the tools they're already using or need to sell better online.
And I imagine that because you're the experts at that, and you deal with a whole bunch of different clients like them, you're probably able to help them problem solve, suggest apps to them, suggest solutions to them as well, stuff that they would maybe not think of, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think that's the extra level that we really dive into. I mean, we live and breathe. We started as having our own e-commerce stores, so we understand the business, the challenges that we have. So we have a full conversion optimization team that they think about how to improve our merchants' stores. How do we make them more money? I mean, that was actually the foundational guiding principle between Bold when we started. Is like, what products do we want to build? And really, it came down to what are the products that are going to make merchants more money. That's how we started. So really, foundationally, Bold, that's what we're there for. When you look at subscriptions or you look at our checkout app, we're building solutions that just increase conversion, or we increase the LTV. We have a loyalty program, so it increases retention. There's a whole bunch of different products, and they'll address different needs with selling online or selling in store. But really, foundationally, it comes down to how do we help you make more money. So
really, really neat, Steph. Yvan, Steph, I want to ask you about the story of Bold, how it started. I mean, I know you guys. I've known you guys a long time. We're roughly the same vintage, even though I look twice as old as you guys. We're roughly the same vintage. I've known you guys both a long time. Franco, good French-Canadian boys. Grew up in the country, both of you. We battled in sports. Yvan, you and I actually played volleyball together. And remember, I'm cook on the provincial team in '99. Steph, if I'm not mistaken, you built my first ever e-commerce website before Bold. It was like a business that I had. It was capped some experts, and I didn't know what to do. And I looked at you, and you had helped me build that website. That was, 15 years ago or whatever it was. Tell me about the story of Bold, how it started. You four guys basically bootstrapping this idea, and when did you kind of quit your job? What's the story of Bold? How did it start?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so the four of us, we're four founders. So Yvan and I are two of them. We're all roughly the same age, and we've known each other since high school. Actually, from volleyball, we've all played different volleyball teams together, and we are all in the industry. So Eric and Yvan are both developers and working on the dev side, and I was working for an e-commerce company. Jay at the time was running multiple e-commerce stores, and he wanted to build an app for one of his stores. So he approached me because I was in the industry, and I thought it was a good idea, but we needed some help. So I brought on the other two, and that's really how it got started. So we, as Yvan said, we had some stores, so we focused on apps that we thought would help us and make our lives and our stores better. And I think that's what set us apart. Instead of just we really focused on things that we knew store owners because we were needed, and we got to work. So we all had full-time jobs at the time when we were working 24 hours a day, sleeping very little. We all had young families or just starting families or getting married at the time. So it was a lot of work. But as we started releasing some products and developing some or getting some recurring income, then the time was to quit. So we always get asked, how do we decide who quits first? And at the time, it was really, we looked at the business's needs, and at the time we needed more product. We needed to grow the offering and develop more. So Eric, who's our lead developer, quit first and started working out of his basement. Then I quit second and started working on building our brand and our marketing material. Then we moved into my basement, and from there we just kept moving from basements to garage, and then on to some office space.
That's crazy. It's it's kind of every entrepreneur's dream to just start that business in your basement and just see it go. And then I guess you started hiring employees. So what year would that have been roughly, Yvan? Like you guys would have started that roughly what year?
That was 2012.
2012, and then you started hiring kind of around that time. You started hiring obviously because it was going really well.
So the first meeting we ever had was at the Robin's Donuts on Main Street. I don't even know if it's Robin's Donuts anymore, but we met there on February 26th was the date. And I know that because I've told the story many times, not because it was that memorable. And then we actually launched our first app it was April 6th in 2012. We were super pumped. We took sick days. We were like, this is going to be big. This is awesome. After 2 hours, I think, of sitting around waiting for our first install, somebody installed it, got excited about the first install, everybody was cheering, and then about 5 minutes later, we saw them uninstall and then leave us a negative review. and that's what started the journey. It was exactly that. And it was actually cool. It was not even far into the journey, and we already realized, actually that one experience really set the foundation for where we were going. I mean, you can't fake good product. Now that's, I think, what we got out of it. It's like you can put something out there all you want, but if you're not going to give something that's valuable, that the merchant's going to get more value out of than they're giving you, get ready for a whole bunch of those uninstalls. So and on top of that, and then it was once we saw the uninstall, we contacted them, gave them great support, and so we really started to value what it takes to take care of people that are using your products. And so that's actually how it happened. Funny story about Eric quitting. The one part about that is Eric never told anybody, nor did we know he was going to quit. But he's actually the one that started the let's quit our day jobs and start working. I don't even think we had enough money to pay him. I think he just assumed we would have enough the next month to do that. So that's kind of how it all rolled out.
We sent out an email saying, okay, we're almost there. One of us is going to be able to soon. What do we think? And then he sent a reply saying, okay, I quit. So we're like, oh, okay.
So that was February 2012. And then you would have started hiring people probably in 2013 or something like that?
So January 1st is when we hired our first employee.
We actually hired someone. We hired someone on a part-time contract basis to work for us before Yvan and Jay quit to work full-time.
And then let's say 2015, how many employees would you have had? Kind of 3 years out.
Steph probably has that.
Yeah, off the top of my head, we would have been probably in 2015, probably about 40 employees.
Okay, and then 2017 or 18, it grew to what?
200.
I think.
And then
I think we were.
What would it be at now?
So we're 300 just under 340, I think.
340 employees. You're doubling every 3-4 years, something like that?
Well, I mean, it's not doubling anymore, but we were doubling the first 3-4 years. It was definitely doubling. I think after the first year we had 10, and then it was 20, 40, 80, 160, and then now we're where we are. But we didn't double last year.
100% growth annually is a tough number to keep up. The old would you take a penny and double it every day at the end of a month? How much would you have? It's like billions of dollars or whatever. It's tough to grow 100% every year. Even the best companies on earth, like Google and Amazon, they used to grow at 100%, and now they're growing at 20%, and that's the best in the entire industry, right? So they're growing at 20%. So good for you guys on that. So I'm curious about the business model. Does someone who install an app, do they pay an immediate upfront charge and then they also pay a percentage of revenue, or is it strictly an upfront charge, or is it strictly
Well, it depends. It depends on the app, but most of them are a recurring monthly fee. So they don't pay anything up front. Typically, they'll install it and they'll pay it every month as long as they're using it. Some of our bigger apps will have a transaction percentage fee as well. So the more business you run, so it's easier to scale. It's a more scalable business model because if smaller shops, they're not paying a ton if they're only using it a little bit, but the larger stores that are making tons of sales, then they pay accordingly.
Nice. Reminder, viewers, I'm here with Yvan Beaujoli and Steph Menel, co-founders of Bold Commerce. Yvan's the CEO, Steph as well, co-founder, Bold Commerce. Good to have you guys here. Thanks for joining me. Hey, I want to talk about those early years. I'm guessing there were some growing pains or mistakes, or I'm going to ask each of you if you can think of a story or a mistake that was made, what you learned from it, and how it helped you guys grow after that. If you could think of something that kind of happened early on where you a colossal screw up or something, maybe a fight between two of the founders, maybe not a fist fight, but maybe like an argument or a shoving match. Give me the juicy details.
So yesterday? All right.
Jeez.
I have a few lessons. I mean, I would say I'm still learning. I mean, every day there's a new challenge and something else that's happening. Probably if I was to quantify it by, number of employees, it almost feels like at about 50 people increments, there's something new to learn about growing and scaling a business. And I don't know if that is correlated to just employees or really revenue or merchants even too, but I felt like it was like every 50 employees, there was something new and a new challenge to overcome. You look back 7 years and what we know today versus what we knew back then. I mean, we've been through a ton of stuff, and I mean, it all starts with taking care of people and how to do that properly. And I think we always had the right values, and I think that's one of the proudest things I would even say is it's rare that you have 4 co-founders that are still kind of as close as we are today, right? Like, I mean, you hear all these nightmare stories about co-founders falling apart and not talking to each other. Our core group has been. It was a great journey. We appreciate everything we've been through, and we all brought something different, and we still bring something different to the table. So, but when you look back at every step, I mean, at 50 people, it felt like everybody before then would have a co-founder that would sit right beside you, so they would learn the values and everything that we would believe in, and taking care of people, taking care of merchants. What does Bold stand for? And then when you surpass that, we found that they wouldn't have that direct exposure to founders, so they would start making up their own values and their own beliefs and their own, which is great, but without a guiding principle. We found all of a sudden they were deviating very far from what we as a company believed in. And so we introduced something called the Builders Code, and that it's publicly available. It's on our website, boldcommerce.com/builders code. But it pretty much just outlines, here's a guiding principles of Bold. The culture and everything will change and adapt with more employees, and which is great. But this is how you guys should be thinking about merchants and how we value them. And if they have a problem, it is our problem. It's not they're doing something wrong. So I think that was probably the biggest thing I think I've learned over the years. But that being said, even yesterday or today, I'm still learning new things about what we need to do to thrive and grow at the pace that we're growing. I mean, still a lot of room to improve, I think, on my personal side. So, but it's great. It's a great journey. There's always something new, and the challenges are always different. So,
I think if you stop admitting that you're learning, that's a serious issue. So all the good leaders always say, all the books I've read, they always say, I'm always learning every single day. So I'm happy to hear you say that, Yvan. Steph, you think of a mistake or something that you guys made earlier, or a lesson learned?
I don't know, man. So many mistakes. I don't know if there's anything there. I do a lot of mentoring now, and I think the couple things of advice that a typical or so I'm going to add to Yvan's comment about being the founders being close. I think typical business people or people who have a good idea, they're scared to bring on partners. We get asked all the time, what is it like to have 4 founders? It must be so much harder than just a partnership or being alone. But I actually always say the same thing. I think it's better that we're 4 than 2. Because if you think of your business, like how much passion do you have for your business? How many hours do you put in your business? Are you ever going to find an employee that puts in that same amount of time and effort? Probably not, because it's just not the same. But so imagine multiplying yourself by 2 or 4, then you're obviously better off for it. But also for us, like I think our biggest benefit has been like when you're a sole entrepreneur, you have an idea, you run with it. There's no real challenge. Or no one to challenge you. If you're partners and your partner challenges you, it's very easy to just become your opinion versus mine and maybe butt heads and have those fights. But when we're 4, there have been multiple times where I've come up with an idea that I've lost sleep over because I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I show up at work, bring it up, and all 3 are like, no, that's a dumb idea. And I think you'd be hard pressed to like argue 3 other opinions. So in our case, it's been very easy to realize, okay, no, maybe that isn't, and chat it out and whatever. So we've avoided a lot of fights because of that. I think it's just the nature of 4 different minds who focus on different areas collaborating has really helped us grow. And then the other lesson that I think we've learned is don't be afraid to move on. Move on when there are a lot of things we have a very innovative culture, so we're always trying new things. We're always dedicating a lot of time and money into coming up with the next best thing, or trying a new product, or trying a new industry. And I think that's great. That's what keeps us bold and innovative. But I think companies get a little too caught up in I can't quit now. I've invested too much money. But then a year later or 2 years later, they've invested twice as much and it still isn't working. So I think one thing we've learned over the years is, if it's not going the way we want, just cut ties and ignore everything we put into it and just move on and pivot quick. So those are things we've had to do a lot over the years, but it's brought us some really cool things, not being afraid to try too.
I think that's a phenomenal lesson, and one that can be applied to my industry as well. So my dad has always said, the market doesn't care what you paid for a stock, but people have this concept where they've sunk in this cost. I bought it at $50, and today it's at $20. Same concept that you're talking about, a sunk cost bias, right? You've sunk in all this cost and this development, and who cares? Today, is it likely to be profitable in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years? And if not, let's cut ties. That is a great tip, Steph. I like it. Yeah, I want to ask you guys about your growth. So you touched on it earlier. I know now you've opened an office in Austin. Yvan, maybe take me through what that was like and how it's going and how many employees are there.
Yeah, that was hard, to be honest. Opening up an office in Austin. We were 100% in Winnipeg before. I guess it was in November we hired our first person in Austin. So I think the concept or the idea of having, we take our culture very seriously and very proud of what we were able to build. And in Winnipeg, I mean, that too is huge for us that we were able to do it in Winnipeg. But I mean, the scale of the company is we're just going too fast, and there's definitely skill sets that we did a North American search for. It was something that we took seriously about finding the right talent, the right person. I was scared about going to Austin. I won't lie. I said it multiple times, even during the whole search. I don't like the idea. But to be honest, I think we found honestly, actually, I think Austin actually is very similar to Winnipeg. Very similar culture, very similar people. That's probably the biggest thing I found. And the talent that we found. So we hired our CRO. So Mike is out of Austin, and with Mike, he's building up his sales. There's a sales arm that's being hired out in Austin. So I think they're a team of 10 to 12 now. Yeah, it's around there, anyways. Anyway, so he's there. We've got a bunch of great people in Austin. I went out there right before pre-COVID when I could travel. I spent the week out there with them. Just a great group of people. And honestly, it does feel like Winnipeg. So again, it was something that was just, I didn't know what to expect, and so was very nervous about it. But I think we put a lot of time. It wasn't a quick decision. I mean, I think we were looking for Mike for at least 8 to 9 months. So we put a lot of thought and we interviewed a lot of times to make sure that he was the right person. We knew he was the right person, and then once we had that behind us, it was a lot easier to then go and open the office out there when you trust the person that you've put in that office. So yeah, I mean, now it's exciting. Now it's scaling up that team and seeing what else we can do. You know, I'm sure we'll probably get into talking about COVID and how we've adjusted remotely. But these are all muscles that we are, again, talking about lessons learned. They're new muscles for us, so we're just getting better and better at it. COVID, I think, forced us to take a bigger dive into this whole remote stuff. But you know, the Austin office has been a great experience so far, and again, it's great city, huge tech hub. So we'll see. Right now, we have no plans to open up any dev center out there, but just to say, that city is booming too. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I was lucky enough I visited Austin a couple of years ago. I had a conference there, and I remember it. Am I wrong? Or it's the like country music capital or something like that, or not the country music, but the live music capital, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's got a very similar vibe than Nashville.
Yeah.
So I found the piano bar. I was there.
Yeah. I went to one of those.
That week. Yeah. So
I'm a big piano bar guy. Piano bar guy. Love those, the live music and the piano and the singing from the crowd. That's my scene. Also a really neat museum. I spent an afternoon at the Alamo Museum or something like that, or the Texas History Museum or something like that. It was really, really neat. Roughly the same population as Winnipeg, I think, right? If I recall.
Yeah. I mean, but once you consider the surrounding area, it's much bigger there. But
good feel. Way more guns. Way more guns than Winnipeg, but good feel. Definitely good feel.
Even that, I would say it's even less in Austin. It's a different city. Anyways, I don't want to get into the whole Austin conversation.
No, I love Austin.
It's got a really cool Winnipeg vibe.
They have less guns than the rest of the state of Texas, for sure.
Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Reminder, guys, please, I think Yvan and Steph have a great message here. If you're watching this, wherever you're watching it on YouTube, give us a like, give us a share. If you're watching it on YouTube, please do the equivalent. I believe it's a subscribe. Give us a subscribe. Give us your comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you guys got questions for Yvan and Steph, please let me know. We'd love to ask them directly to Yvan and Steph. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going because I got a lot of questions. I want to talk about the culture. So I know some people that have worked at Bold. I've personally been in the office on, well, the I guess your big building there, the one on by the car dealerships there, wherever it is. It's got a really, really neat feel when you walk in, and it's got, like, you guys gave me the tour. It's got, you know, I recall the you guys had like the nap room or the sleeping room, and you guys had like the VR room, and you guys had like the collaboration room, and it's really, really a neat new age office. So really new age. I think most of us who are watching here would think new age, would think like Google and Silicon Valley. And two, I would say the culture that I got to see with my eyes and what I've spoke to you guys. So maybe Steph, maybe you could touch on those 2 points. Like, I remember there were like buck hunt machines in the lobby. You guys had arcades. You guys had, maybe touch on the culture, how you decided to build it, and maybe the design layout, if you've modeled it after anyone. Steph. Sure.
Yeah, well, for us, this is a common question we get all the time, is why do we put so much into the culture, or what's our secret? It's funny because I always have the same answer. We don't really have a secret. It was pretty simple for us. Like, when we started the company and realized that it was going to grow, we were going to start hiring people, and that we were the type of founders that are going to work there every day. The one thing I think we did right was we took the time to have a conversation and discuss, well, what kind of company do we want to build? And the answer was just as simple. It was like, well, we're going to work there every day, so why don't we make it a place where we want to go? And that led to us making a couple lists of one of things we've seen in the past that we, or experiences we've had, other jobs we've had that we really like, that we would like to continue or have, and things that we've gone through that we absolutely hated and didn't want to put our staff through. So there was that. And then we looked at other industry leaders. The Googles, Shopify was a good influence. All the tech companies, and what did they offer that we could. So yeah, now we have a lot of perks. So we do have an arcade with Buck Hunter. We have ping pong tables. We have massage chairs. We have VR rooms. We have lots of stuff. We cater lunch for everybody every day, and we have beer on tap, all that kind of stuff. But really, I also like to follow that up with those are just perks, and perks don't really make a good culture. So for us, it's more about providing a workplace where people feel like they can get excited to get up in the morning to go work, that they can contribute, that they're working on something meaningful, and that they can be a part of something where they can make a difference. So we do a lot of other things like mentorship programs. We have a lot of education funds. We do a lot of volunteer work. We do a lot of group activities, and that's all part of our culture and constant growth. So yeah, for us, it was really just trying to build a place where people can get excited to make a difference and do some awesome work. And the one thing I think I'm the most proud of is over all these years that has never left our philosophy. And in fact, it's unfortunate that I think a lot of companies think about bottom line first and then, okay, well, what's left over? What can we do for the team? But for us, it's the complete opposite. It's always, well, how's this going to affect the team? What can we do? And that's basically the basis of every single decision we make. It's really important to us. So we have a really good culture team. We have full-time health and wellness specialists on the team, and we do whatever we can to make it a great working atmosphere.
Yeah, that's great. I've seen it and smelt it, and the people that I know that have worked there have told me how the culture is awesome. And you can't just create culture. It starts at the top, and obviously you guys have done that well. Congrats. Good on you for doing that. COVID. Let's talk COVID a little bit. Your life, Yvan, you got 4 kids. How has Yvan's life changed personally? You were telling me you were just working on math homework an hour ago for grade 5 math with one of your kids. So how's life changed personally? And then I'm going to ask you guys, what's going to permanently change businesses, specifically like yours in e-commerce as a result?
Yeah. Personally, the biggest change is I grew a beard. So I touch my face a lot now. That's what I realized. Also, if I took my hat off, you'd see my hair.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Come on. Huh? Let's see it. Take the hat off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't look bad. It's all squished. I cut my own hair. You just pick up a razor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and then exactly that. It's like between meetings, I'm helping out with math and kids' homework. I still suck at French. So that goes to my wife, and I'll pick up the math questions, and it's different, and it's kind of neat too, though, right? Like I have a 14-year-old daughter, 15-year-old daughter.
Is that the one that plays volleyball? There's one that's really good at volleyball.
Yeah, and we have conversations about kind of what's going on, and obviously she's devastated because she can't see her friends and all that stuff. But how many people ever could have said they had 3 months where they just spent all their time with their family and built a relationship with their kids the way that we have, right? So I think there's a silver lining here, and I think if everybody could find that side of it, this has been a really interesting. Not to say that this is amazing experience being quarantined and not being able to go out, and I mean your days blur into your nights, so you don't know when you're working and when you're not.
Fridays blur into Saturdays, Sundays blur into Mondays.
Exactly. But the amount of time that you've been able to build relationships with your family, unprecedented, and hopefully everybody's making the best of that, because I think that's the opportunity that everybody has through this time. But there's definitely challenges ahead with everything going on. So
words of wisdom, those are such. I echo those statements so much. For me, COVID, I've been saying it on this show, this has given me the opportunity to do some introspection. I feel like so much better about myself. I started working out. I've got all these projects. I started writing my book. I feel like I have a bit more time now, even though that doesn't make sense. But just, I guess, evenings, there's no board meetings and there's no, I don't know. It's just, and the key is for all of us to kind of try to, be more efficient, reinvent our business, spend this time with my kids. This Lego table in the back, for me, I built it with my kids, and we built the beach here and the thing here, and we spent a weekend doing that, which was so fun. I'm so glad you say that, Yvan, because there's a lot of negativity around COVID, and I know it's bad. I know it's bad. People are dying. It's terrible. I know, but I'm so glad you said that, Yvan. To that it's been positive. It's been a great experience for you to spend time with your kids. Steph, you have 2 kids at home. I know you're. What's different for Steph?
Same thing. I think Yeah, it's weird. I feel more busy, but also less busy at the same time. It's hard to explain, but I'm locked. My kids are young, so I got a 1.5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So it's a very, very busy age. I lock myself in the room because if I leave, they want to play or come in and smash my laptops or whatever it is. But I agree. I think we're very fortunate. My wife's a nurse, so we're kind of in the thick of it. having to shift schedules, and sometimes I work at night when the kids are in bed, and because she has to work in the morning, and vice versa. So we're accommodating, but and yeah, it is tough. I'm glad I don't have to teach my kids math. I'm at the point where I'm teaching them how to draw S's, which I can very well do.
It's a tough letter. That is a tough
letter.
I
know, but luckily my name starts with it, and so does Sam, my son. But yeah, I know, I 100% agree. I think we're fortunate. We're still employed. My wife's, obviously her job is very needed, but we get to spend a ton of time with the boys, and I think. Not even I live pretty far from the office, so the 2 extra hours of not having to drive is a little bit nice. But at the same time, it's also sometimes we're going a little bit stir crazy and just want to leave the house, just go for a drive and do something. But from a business we're managing, we're a tech company. I think actually going back to our office, Austin office, I think it was good timing, fortunate timing under the circumstances, because that really forced us to learn to work remote and include our other team out in the US right before all this happened. So we were quick to adjust and make it happen. I think if you ask Yvan, I will have the same answer about, do we like this working remote versus the office? We'll both say, there's nothing better than the team atmosphere and being able to just have a meeting in the group, and especially us at Bold, we're a very team-oriented culture, like we just talked about. So I miss those. I miss the big get-togethers with the 300 people in the room and all that kind of stuff. But we're managing, and we'll take it for what it is and enjoy the time with family, and we'll move on.
And you guys are going to continue to grow, I'm sure. I'm gonna get to a rapid fire in a sec, but I want to ask you guys a specific question about the future of our society, and specifically with respect to e-commerce. I think I know what you're going to say, but what is the future? What is going to change dramatically in your minds, or what's going to be the biggest change for e-commerce as a result of COVID?
Yeah, so I mean, I think everybody watching will know the answer to this. I mean, has anybody tried buying curbside or pick up in store? Or just now buying a lot more online and finding how simple and easy it is to have everything delivered to your door, and how much time you're saving by not having to go into the grocery store. So the question is, how many people are thinking, oh, once everything goes back to normal, I can't wait to go shopping again and walk into the store and pick my groceries? Or are you thinking, oh, I could just save this list, and every 2 weeks I just go to the door and they deliver everything? That's what's going to change. If people are now realizing, and some people, not everybody, there's a lot of people that were already adopting this method of purchasing. This forced everybody, even the ones that were reluctant to actually now realize that online shopping is convenient and it is easy. And so this definitely accelerated the online industry, and that's not going to change. The question is, how many people are going to go back to kind of the normal way of buying? So I think if you're a business owner, regardless how much of an online presence you had before, I think you're going to need to really put this as a priority. And hopefully some of it comes back to normal. But in the end, you can't stop convenience and what people are starting to want, how the behavior people are going to want to buy. And that's what really, all I'm saying is I'm not trying to sell, hey, now you got to come to see Bold and we got to set things up. It's not at all.
I don't think you need to, Yvan. I don't think you need to, right?
It's just everybody's going to find it so convenient, right? And that's what's driving this. And I actually avoided, not that I avoided it, I actually never ordered groceries online before and did the curbside pickup until this, because I don't want to build my list and do it. Now that I've done it, man, this is easy. I'm not dropping this, right? So that's the thing. So online is going to be even bigger than what it was before pre-COVID. Some of it will normalize a little bit, and hopefully, obviously the foot traffic is going to help with everything. But I think this has to now become a bigger priority if it wasn't already. And the people that were prepping for this or were positioning themselves online, I think they're really starting to see they're seeing a huge benefit from this, obviously.
Yeah.
So we've got some merchants that they prepped for something, not that they prepped for this specifically, but they were making a big move online, and now this just accelerated their online presence crazy. So,
Yeah,
that's.
I agree. I think you said exactly what I think you'd say, and I agree 100%. Steph, I'm going to ask you a question about some of the charity work you guys do, and then I'll get to the rapid fire. I know you guys you're backing a cause that I believe helps the Children's Hospital, if I'm not mistaken. You guys raised a ton of money.
Yeah, so every year, well, there are a few things we do. So first of all, we've taken the 1-1-1 pledge, which is 1% of time, profit, and product that we give back to the community. So 1% of time, if you do the math with 2020-ish working hours, is 20 hours a year that we pay our entire team to volunteer. So we have a lot of initiatives that we go out as teams. We do the plane polls. We do Habitat for Humanity or Winnipeg Harvest. We sort food, all that kind of stuff. And we do them as small teams. But also we host Extra Life North, which is a charity 24-hour charity gaming event that is through oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. What's it called? Yeah. Extra Life. It's just Extra Life. So Extra Life is a national charity and we do the Winnipeg version, which is our 24-hour one. So last year we hosted it. We had Nate Beaulieu from the Jets. We had Jill Officer and she brought her gold, the curler, Olympic curler. She brought her gold medal. And we had a media event, but we raised over $73,000 for the Winnipeg Children's Hospital Foundation. This year we won't be doing it due to everything going on, but we're looking forward to picking that back up in 2021. Hopefully bigger and better. We had over 300 people come and game, so it's pretty awesome. But we try to do whatever we can. Winnipeg's a tight community. We get a lot of support, and we like to give back. We think it's important, so we try to instill that in our beliefs, but also in all of our team too.
Nice. I know. I recall. I think we sponsored it. Canaccord sponsored it last year. It was we were proud to be affiliated with a great event, and you guys running it as well. Yeah, I'm going to do rapid fire, guys. As a reminder, I'm here with Yvan Boisjoli and Stefan and I, co-founders of Bold Commerce, co-founders of Bold Commerce. They're right here with me today. We're going to do a rapid fire. I'm going to ask you 1 or 2 word answers, okay? The first thing that comes to mind. And you go back to back. Yvan, you're going to go first, and then Steph, back to back. Okay, so your favorite video game?
Fortnite.
You've never played it.
I just played it 2 weeks ago. That's like back, baby.
Okay, Steph.
Same man. Question.
Yeah,
easy. NHL and all the NHLs 2020.
What was the best version of NHL?
You know what? This year's is pretty awesome. NHL 20. They've changed.
It wasn't 1994 when they kind of first created the season that you could save on your Sega Genesis, and you couldn't come around the corner and take the slap shot from the crease and score every time.
Every single time, yeah. No, every year is the thing. 1 year was one timers, one was wraparounds, one was
the Deke, 95 I think was the Deke.
They changed the skating engine this year. It's pretty awesome.
Good, happy to hear that. Favorite historical character, Yvan, and then Steph, or like person who's dead or historical person.
Favorite dead person?
Jeez, I don't know. Favorite.
Oh boy.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here. Steph, go for it.
Yeah, Skip. I don't know.
Skip. All right, that's the only Skip you guys get.
Okay.
How about your person alive that you would most want to have dinner with?
Oh.
You know what? I'll say Bill Gates.
Okay, that's a great answer. Steph?
I was going to say Bill Gates. Yeah.
You're like that guy in grade school who, like, someone says an answer.
No,
like, what that kid said.
I actually was going to say Bill Gates. I think he'd have tons of wisdom. He's been through a lot.
Yeah, I think we'd all love to have dinner with Bill Gates.
I just watched his Netflix thing.
First job and hourly wage. First job and hourly wage.
I cleaned up my dad's shop
for $0 an hour.
Yeah, I think I was making $5 an hour.
My first job was at Grand Prix Amusement, running the go-kart track. It was the best job ever.
Yeah, that would be unreal.
How many minimum wage at the time? I don't remember what it was.
$4 or whatever. Yeah. How many computer monitors has Bold purchased, if you had to guess, since inception?
Oh boy.
700.
700. Okay, that's good.
Maybe probably more than that. But
500 probably. Yeah.
Okay, most influential book that you've ever read, or latest, or book that's on your shelf right now?
Influential. Let's go with, actually, I'm a pretty avid reader, but what do I want to share? Which one? You know what? Hard Things About Hard Things. That one's awesome.
Okay,
That one's just a fun book to read.
Steph.
Yeah, that's a good book for founders. It's funny. I don't,
Same book.
well, no, it's funny because we always, every time one of us reads a book, we recommend it to the other. So I think we've read all the same good books. What Would Google Do is a really good book about, because it touches a lot on our culture. Same kind of similar, how they, whatever.
Yeah. What Would Google Do? I like it.
Yeah.
Who has the best wrist shot or is the best hockey player between you two?
Out of the two of us?
Steph.
Oh, thanks.
How about volleyball player today?
Today?
It's got to be me.
Well, I pretty much shattered my wrist playing a couple of years ago and can't play anymore, so it's got to be Yvan.
Okay. Your favorite app that you use the most on a day-to-day basis? Or favorite? Maybe you don't use it the most.
You know what? Let's go with Google Meet. I do so many video conferences. It's crazy.
Steph?
Jeez Louise. Probably, I use Trello a lot for my personal organization, so Trello app.
Okay, and what's the one that you use at the office that makes it like work-wise? You guys, remind me what apps you guys use that are really kind of game changers at work?
Slack.
Are there any? Slack, okay.
Yeah, so Slack, the communication app.
Okay.
We're all on that all the time. So that'd be our most used one, whether we think of it or not. That's the truth.
Okay. What's the funnest thing you've done since in quarantine to kind of that's odd or that's been fun with buddies or with cousins or with friends and family remotely?
So I don't know if I want to admit this, but last Friday I played Jackbox with my brother and I got completely wasted on my own, sitting in the basement. I don't know. It's kind of sad, but
Steph, how are you?
I played some online gaming against my cousin, which is, it might not be odd like at our office, but odd for me because we're not gamers. Like when you said what's my favorite game, it was easy because it's the only game I play and have.
Okay.
But,
okay, and I think that's it. I think I covered. Oh yeah, board game. Do you guys play board games? And what's your favorite one?
It's gotta be Settlers. I mean, we play it twice a day, so.
Do you? Sorry, Steph, I'll interrupt. Do you guys know that you're sitting right now with a 3-time Settlers of Catan Canadian champion?
Yeah, but it's because you never played me.
do you want to have a game tonight, Yvan, or tomorrow, or Saturday or Sunday? I will play you.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get mocks and digs as well. And Steph, if you want to join, you're in.
I've never played, but sure.
So how do you become the world champion or the Canadian champion?
Wow, you go to the tournament and you have to win tournaments.
Oh, there's an actual tournament. Okay, so it's self-proclaimed here.
No, this is not self-proclaimed.
I'm the world champion. You may be the
No. Like Google it. After this, Google Essen Settlers of Catan World Championship. They were held in Germany. I think it was 02, 04, and 07. I finished 6th, and 17th at the Worlds. Best I did was 6th at the Worlds. My brother, I think, one time finished 18th. Johnny Mox, actually, who's our producer, who's behind the scenes right now, he finished 3rd or 2nd at the Nationals this year. So the Nationals nowadays are regional qualifiers, and you got to qualify for the Nationals. I finished 6th at the Nationals this year, but wasn't able to win. But I kind of went 15 years without playing Settlers of Catan, and now I'm kind of playing again because my kids and whatever. We play Catan Junior. Sorry, Steph, I interrupted. Do you play board games?
I don't even know what Settlers is. So if we get together and play online,
come on.
Going back to the last question, that'll be the funniest, weirdest thing I've done.
You're like a Risk kind of guy, or Monopoly, or like
I love Monopoly, but I used to play Monopoly with my sisters, and they stopped playing with me because I won every single time, and they hated it. So, no, I think Sequence is probably the game. I play that with my wife and my parents while we drink.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we hammered out a date for me and Yvan to play Settlers of Catan this weekend. I'm excited about that. That'll be the funnest thing I've done since quarantine.
Good luck.
So I want to take a sec here to thank you guys, but also want to introduce our guests that are coming up. I got to tell you, one of the guests that's coming up today, I spoke to him earlier today. He was wearing Bold gear. So Bruce Croxon. Yeah, Bruce is going to be a guest on our show. He's going to be on, what day is it? June 1st, I believe. He's a CEO, founder of Round 13. His focus is on Canadian tech I'll call it startups, but kind of established startups and like taking them to the next level. He was wearing your stuff and he had no idea that he's wearing your brand everywhere. I saw him at the Raptors game under the hoop there he was wearing bold hat. So Bruce Croskin, he'll be on June 1st. We have another dragon on next week. Vincenzo Guzzo, I believe, is next week, right? If I'm not correct. Yeah, Vincenzo Guzzo, Monday, May 25th. So that's 2 weeks from now. Next week, we have a lawyer, a partner, a tax expert, Michael Ziesman, tax partner at MLT Aikens. We'll be looking at some tax strategies. It'll be more focused on, if you have a corp, how to some basic wills and estate planning ideas, some tax strategies. He's a really, really smart guy. I'm thrilled to have him along, and he's only charging me $500 for the hour, which is really good. I'm kidding. That's a lawyer joke. I used to be a lawyer, so I'm allowed to make these jokes.
Wait,
really,
your guests get paid?
No. I'll make a donation to the charity of your choice or something like that. No, you guys are doing it out of the goodness of your heart, and because I guess you like me, maybe. I don't know. Thank you guys for coming on board. I really appreciate it. I'm excited about our date. Yvan coming up. Again, guys, I was here live today with Yvan Beaujoli, Steph Menard, May 14th, 2020, co-founders of Bold. Thank you so much for joining today, guys. The Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P all finished up a little bit today. The Dow finished up a lot, about 1%. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Viewers, please stay tuned. So next week, long weekend, no guests on Monday, but on Thursday, we will have a tax partner, Michael Ziesman. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
tuning in.
Have a good one.